On today's show, yikes, the Senators are demolished 7-3 in Chicago.
And 6 goals against is a tough look for any goalie, but how much of those goals should be blamed on Linus Ullmark?
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Today is Wednesday, October 29th, and Pilsy, I feel partially to blame for last night's loss.
You? What did you do?
Yesterday, I led the show by saying, hey, you think the Sens could score 7 goals again? Well, instead, they allowed 7 goals, and it was an overwhelmed team, it felt like, for most of the night.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to use the word or term scheduled loss, but this is a tough bounce for the Ottawa Senators as far as scheduling goes, and they're at home up against the Boston Bruins, then they have to travel to Chicago next day up against the Blackhawks. And sure, the Ottawa Senators gave Linus Ullmark the full day off, not even backing up on Monday. I like the move, Ross. It did not end up working out. Now, how much of that is on Linus Ullmark? We'll get into that. But my God, I know the Ottawa Senators struggle against the Chicago Blackhawks. I know that better than anyone. I had people on Twitter being like, did Pilsy sneak his way into the United Center and ruin this game for us? No. I posted a screenshot of me here with the date and the time on my phone to prove that I was not at that game. I was accused of photoshopping. I was accused of using AI. I got no clue how to do any of that stuff, Ross. I'm happy when I can turn on my computer and join this stream on a day-to-day basis. That's how technologically challenged I am. But this was not my fault either. So I'll give you the blame for cursing us, saying, oh, Sens are going to score 7 again. It'll happen. Even though I got in on that too. But I was not at the United Center. I vow, I promise, I will never attend another Ottawa Senators versus Chicago Blackhawks hockey game at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, United States of America ever again.
In the regular season. You're not going to a Stanley Cup final game because it's in Chicago.
Are you kidding me? That I'm especially not going. If we're in the finals and I show up to that game, I think Sens fans are gonna do the linked arms barricade at the entrance of the United Center and stop me from going in.
That is so funny.
Okay, these are the things I will do for my team, Ross. If the Sens are ever in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Chicago Blackhawks, I will not go to any of the Chicago games. And I love Chicago. Great city.
Again, they're going to be a great team eventually. Ottawa got a firsthand look at that with Connor Bedard's first career hat trick. And that first goal, the back angle replay, was filthy. And it got us thinking. Because on first glance, you're like, it's just a nice seam pass, but you probably want your goalie to get over and make the save. So we went back and we looked at each goal against for the Ottawa Senators and how much is actually to blame on Ullmark. He allows 6, the empty netter, the 7th. We talked about that last night on the postcast, the strategy behind pulling the goalie down 3 with a power play, 8 minutes left in the game. You can go check out our reaction to that last night. But Pilsy, this Hawks team, they deserve to win that game. They made more plays than the Senators. They, for the most part, stayed more disciplined until Bertuzzi's wires crossed on Nick Cousins. Like,
the Sens had 4 power play opportunities, which they went 0 for 4. The Chicago Blackhawks had 1, and they went 1 for 1 for 100%.
Yeah, well, Ottawa's power play was bound to come down to earth. I think they had scored, 7 of their last 9?
Yeah, to latch on to our terms from yesterday's episode, Ross, Ottawa's power play was bound to regress down, and the penalty kill was bound to regress back up. Or did I just switch those? Maybe I switched those.
You're good.
I got lost in the regression.
No, and yesterday we got a comment as well saying that it's called positive regression. So there you go. That's
well,
what
I guess
Pete
both
they
of
need.
these technically are negative regressions
Yes,
because the power play was good and now is bad, and the penalty kill was good and now is bad. So yeah, both negative regressions as far as the special teams goes. And this is what I was worried about is we can't expect to lean on having amazing special teams every game to win hockey games, and this is a prime example of that.
I got a big problem with these early goals against. It's one thing to allow the first goal, which Ottawa's done 9 out of 11 times this season, but it's another when it's on the first, second, or third shot. Last night was the third shot of the game. The Boston game was the first shot of the night. This trend needs to end because it's not a symbol of success playing from behind all the time.
No, definitely not. Especially up against a younger team, Ross, that, you know, when they get a boost like that, that's going to really up their momentum. They can use their speed and skill. And when you're playing with a lead, you can play a little bit more offensively risky than if you're playing behind. So that just leads into the Chicago Blackhawks game and having young guys like Bedard and Frank Nazar being able to be like, hey, we got a bit of a lead here. I can take more chances and be a little bit more offensive rather than having to play back or play a more structured game. I'm not necessarily saying that's what happened, but just in general, playing from behind in minutes into a game it's tough. It's a tough way to consistently have to have that mindset of like, all right, basically they're starting -1 at the start of every single hockey game.
And too often it's -2, where Louis Crevier's goal from the half wall, good screen, goes off Matt and Paolo's shin pad, made it 2-0, 12 minutes in, and then Bedard's power play goal there, filthy, but 3-0 after the first period. You felt like, oh, geez, this is going to be a long night. But the Ottawa Senators, after allowing another goal, and this one was, again, way too much time, way too much space. 1-on-5, basically, from Bedard getting the puck at his own hash marks, just walking across the blue line, ripping it past Ullmark, knuckle puck style, used Zub as a screen. That was a wild goal. But let's save that for the conversation next segment with Linus Ullmark and how much is he really to blame. But there was that 3.5 minute stretch, Pilsy, where the Senators, they looked like themselves. They were fast. They were first on puck, which they hadn't been for a majority of the night, and they were able to finish on top of that. How much did you believe once Stutzle made that great play and scored his 5th of the season? Did you think, hey, Sens are winning this game? They're going to use that as a jumping point.
Well, to be completely honest, Ross, that was the exact moment my Sportsnet app cut out and blacked out on me.
Don't get me started on the Sportsnet app. I battled that second period.
Same, dude. I was doing the same thing. So my honest reaction was I was just hitting refresh, opening tabs. I was using my Amazon Fire Stick. Then that didn't work, so I went downstairs, tried to open it on my PS5, use my laptop, use my Samsung tablet, use my phone. I was trying everything. So at that moment, I wasn't really thinking, oh, the Sens could come back here. I was just trying to get back in the mix. But looking back, thinking about it, I felt really good about that, especially when the Chicago Blackhawks challenged it for offside and they got the challenge wrong, and that led to an Ottawa Senators power play. Like, that would have been the time to, if you want to stop hearing Chelsea's dagger and you want to put the dagger in the Chicago Blackhawks, tie it up 4-4. That would have changed momentum big time for the Ottawa Senators. And something Martian brought up in the postcast, Ross, that I think needs to be discussed and analyzed. Travis Green does not like to use his timeouts. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that would have been the time for a timeout, but there's got to be points where you see, okay, this is a big moment and could be a game-changing moment. Let's get the guys together. Let's group. Let's figure out what our plan of attack was. That could have been an incident where you're like, all right, guys, we were down. Now we're within 1 goal here. We have the top power play center percentage in the entire league. Let's get Alfie in here, draw something up, get Claude involved as well, and let's go out there, get a power play goal, tie this one up, and then it's a brand new hockey game at that point. Like, I just think Travis Green needs someone to help him use timeouts. You know how some football coaches, they got a timeout guy, like, okay, now's the time to use it. I want someone there that's a big part of their job is being like, all right, now we got to use our timeout, because you can't take them with you. And there's too many games where it seems like it'd be obvious to go for that timeout, even if it's just to slow down momentum. Sometimes you don't even need to say anything. Just call the timeout, allow the guys to come to the bench, figure it out, boys, yourself, or we got to play for you, or I'm going to ream into you for how bad this is going, or whatever the case would be. Use your timeouts. You got them.
Yeah, you do. We'll see if Travis Green makes adjustment. I think he's called one timeout this year, if I'm not mistaken. Would you have called a timeout after the 3-0 goal, 2 minutes left in the first?
No.
Or maybe after the 4-0 goal, because it's 3 minutes into the period and your whole team was standing around watching?
Maybe I'm off on this and you can tell me, but I like to use my timeouts as positive momentum shifters, not negative momentum stoppers. And I see the point for both, but for me, I'd rather be like, okay, let's take a step forward with this timeout, not let's stop digging a hole with this timeout. But although I see the use for that, in my mind, that's where I want to take that timeout, is be like, all right, we're in this game. Let's use this moment to fully bounce back.
Okay, interesting. So when?
Yeah.
Before the power play in the third period?
Before the power play after Timmy scores. That's when I was talking about using
Interesting. Just to set up, get the boys all on the same page.
Moment.
Okay. I wouldn't use it there, but we'll see. We'll see if the citizens like that. I think when it's 6-3, and again, we'll leave this more from the postcast, but I like the move to pull the goalie. I like it. I know it's free shots for the other team down, but that wasn't the case here.
I like it too, Ross. Like, you're trying to win games. If you lose 7-3, which they did, it's the same as losing 6-3, in my opinion. So you might as well go for it.
Linus Ullmark, the numbers are brutal. We'll talk about that next. And then an October Sens prospect update to wrap up today's show. The Wisconsin Sens, how are they starting the season? And Belleville is in action tonight. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, guys. Getting tickets, it can sometimes be a headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives the fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I use Game Time to get my home opener ticket, and then when Martian and I pivoted to go together, Martian used Game Time to get a pair of tickets for us. It was easy. We had great seats in minutes. I love that what you see is what you pay. Nothing worse than getting to checkout and you're like, oh, I'm going to get a sweet deal here. And it's like, oh, no, you got this fee, this fee, this fee, these taxes, these shipping, blah, blah, blah. No hidden fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. And Zone Deals, absolute game changer. Pick the section. Game Time picks your seats. You save big. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, guys, that's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
All right, Billsy, so it's back to the drawing board for the Ottawa Senators, coming off a 7-3 loss. They're still 4-2-1 in their last 7 games. They're a team that needs to bounce back. Why? Because the Calgary Flames have struggled immensely. We'll have a full game day preview tomorrow. John Abbott, former Sens play-by-play guy with TSN, he'll join us to give us the Calgary angle of that matchup.
Love Abs.
But all roads lead to Saturday night against the Canadiens in Montreal. Road game. The Habs are red hot. They're off today, tomorrow, and Friday. They'll be waiting. They'll be ready after going out west. So to me, winning 2 points, that's all important. But playing, I think, a little crispier and being first on puck, even if the score doesn't necessarily go their way Thursday, they have to be ready to compete. All systems go on Saturday.
Let me ask you this, Ross.
Okay.
Is Thursday's game a trap game then? Because that's a team that's struggling. And you said it. we're looking ahead to Saturday. We got a game in between then, Ross, and we just lost 7-3 to a rebuilding, bottom-feeding team in the Chicago Blackhawks, and you're overlooking another bottom-feeding, rebuilding team in the Calgary Flames to go ahead to a Saturday game up against the hottest team in the NHL, or one of them at least.
In theory, you're right, but the Hawks and the Flames have had very different starts to the season. Yeah. Hawks are 5-3-2. The Flames are 2-8-1, and they have one win in their last 10 games.
And they're benching their top, like, young prospects in Matt Coronado and Zane Parekh.
Yeah. So isn't that, like, doesn't that kind of tell you? Because Chicago, I mean, they beat you with their best. Well, they're taking one of their best punches out of the lineup, where Chicago's best punch is Connor Bedard, and he beat you 3 times. He gave you a little left-right uppercut combo. And I think that the Chicago Blackhawks, we need to respect them a little bit more. Plus,
yes, the last 15 games, the Chicago Blackhawks going 13-1-1 against the Sens. Yep, I'm with you, Ross. We should put some respect on the Blackhawks names.
That's voodoo. It just doesn't make sense. So I looked it up this morning because I was like, the Senators, they have to have the worst record at the United Center than any other building. And in terms of point percentage, they're third last. What do you think? Or that's actually in points percentage overall against Chicago. But out of rinks where the Senators played at least 40 games, like an amount, let's say 20, like somewhere where they went consistently, 20 games at an arena. How many do you think they have a worse points percentage than the United Center? And good thing we use 20. The Sens have played exactly 20 games in Chicago.
No one can keep track of arena names these days, so I will name the locations. Correct. Carolina.
No, but that is very close on this list.
I thought for sure.
Funny enough, the worst one is the Civic Center in Ottawa.
Oh, come on.
That's their worst point. They got a point 24% of the time. So one out of every 4 games, they got 1 point.
Okay, I was only going on road arenas, but yeah, that's hilarious.
There's one that's worse than Chicago, and it is PPG Paints Arena, the current home of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay, I was gonna go. Colorado was gonna be my next, and then Edmonton was gonna be the one after that. But Rogers Arena or whatever they call it,
and Rexall,
pretty new.
Exactly. So yeah, and they played 16 games in Colorado and have 4 wins. They played 20 games in Chicago and have 4 wins. So the Sens don't have to see the United Center for the rest of the season, and that is good news for me. The worst record they have at any arena, they're actually going to play at in 5 weeks, and that would be in Vegas.
Vegas doesn't meet the 20-game threshold.
No,
right?
That's what I'm saying. Otherwise,
I would have guessed that. Yeah, I would have guessed that.
Yeah, exactly. T-Mobile Arena, 1 win in 7 games for the Ottawa Senators there. Linus Ullmark, big story in last night's game. The stats were brutal. 6 goals against, 5 of them at even strength because the shorty was the empty netter at the end of the game. He only faced 25. Was it 25? They count a shot when it's an empty net goal.
I don't know,
25.
especially because Ross, that was an automatic.
They blew it dead.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think you can get a goal without getting a shot because in theory the puck has to go in.
If it's an automatic goal?
Yeah, it's a good question. Does an automatic goal count as a shot against? Can't be messing up the empty netter's save percentage this year. 25 shots against Linus Ullmark faced, and he made 19 saves. But you don't think that it's all his fault?
I'd like to say we don't think that it's all his fault, Ross, because we did our very first LOSP film study. Go check it out on Patreon. Trying something a little new there. And I kind of felt this way. And Ross, I like to think I'm usually a guy, hashtag goalie friendly show, that doesn't just do the gotta make a save. Because you got there's only so much you can do. And it's unfair to goalies that when they make a mistake or they don't perform top notch, it's magnetized, whereas like a defenseman could make a brutal pinch or a brutal read, and if it doesn't go in, like, sure, you're like, oh, that sucked, but it's not a big deal. You forget about it seconds later. So normally I'm a little more composed and looking at it, but last night I was just full emotional, and I missed half the game because of Sportsnet. So I was like, "No, Ullmark's got to make a save. Come on, this is brutal." But getting a sleep in, watching the game again, condensed game on NHL, then me and you going over it with a fine-tooth comb, and looking at each goal. This was not Ullmark's fault. A lot of these goals were either really good shots combined with screens, bad defensive breakdowns, and quick bang plays also. Like I won't spoil too much of it. We want people to go check out our film review on Patreon, but there was only one goal where we agreed on 50-50, Ullmark's fault, 50% the team's fault. All the other ones were more we put blame on the team defenseman rather than Ullmark.
Yeah, there were a few he couldn't see it all. And for me, it was just the second goal of the game wasn't one that I loved. And I think it's the first goal of the game, the one we agreed on, right?
Yeah, it was the first
goal.
goal.
The Colton Dach goal. I hate that rebound. You cannot give that rebound up from a shot from that far away from like their bottom pair defenseman.
Yeah, and my spoiler alerts, but my argument was you cannot allow that much time and space on a rebound when there's two players right there. Like if my thing was if two players are desperately diving at a loose puck, at least one of them is out of position.
Yeah, and Chicago, these weren't grade A's, but for me, I guess what really frustrated me as well is that the Colton Dach, the goal scorer there, he had to grab it so far on his backhand and then drag it all the way over. So in theory, it's more time for the goalie to get over there to make the save.
I'll flip it. In theory, that's more time for one of the two Sens players to get there and get a stick on it.
Yeah, and they were
or if they're in position that he doesn't even have time to bring it over if one of them is in the right spot. But
no, the D's were out of position from they both went behind the net. Like,
yep.
Just not ideal. There's a few breakdowns on that play, and it doesn't end well for the Ottawa Senators. But there's a lot of people who are like, hey, 100% on Ullmark, make a save, please. What would you say to them?
That's emotional. And I just admitted to that. That was me last night. You can't, it's not fair to view all goals as equal or to view goals as a whole in a game. You have to look at goals by individuals, play, breakdown, shots, things like that. Like, because at that point, then you're like, okay, well, Ullmark had, where is it? The final stat for his game. Okay, got it here. Ullmark at a 760 save percentage. You see that. You didn't watch the game. You look at the box score. You see that. You're like, man, he sucks. He's got to make a save. Okay, fair. But watch the film, like Ross and I, big film guys, watch each goal. And that's not fair to put that on Ullmark. And I think it's tough too when Ullmark, Bruce Garriock posted his quote after. I don't know if you saw this, Ross, but Ullmark basically said there's some immaturity today. It's not easy winning this league. You can go out there, put up 7-2 nights in a row, and then expect to do a third time, as Ross Levitan did on Locked On Senators podcast.
Yeah, it felt like a shot.
It has come, especially in back-to-backs. There's a skill to playing in back-to-backs. It's really tough, especially when you travel as well. And there's lots of things today we could have done better. That's basically it. He goes on to say a little bit more, but essentially he was like, look, as a team, that was an immature result and showing from us. And I feel like that looks bad when a goalie allows 6 goals and 25 shots. But again, there's more to it than that, in my opinion.
And we will see if he bounces back tomorrow. I go right back to him and say, get in there, go win a game.
Okay. I was going to ask you that. So I agree with you. Second question. Does this mean the Ottawa Senators should never give him a full rest day on the first night of a back-to-back? How do you sit on that after watching this result?
Not for the next little while. Just optically. I'm going 20% blame on Ullmark for the night.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think based on our stats, that's probably right around there. I would agree.
Okay. Well, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about Linus Ullmark after rewatching the goals against? He did make some big saves too. The 2-on-0, the blocker save on Bedard in the third period. Those are saves you should have, though. So
that's
he made not the 2-on-0, but the blocker save on Bedard. You got to stop him eventually, right? He's already scored 3 times.
Yeah, you got to hope some of them just hit you. Jeez.
Yeah, so I want to see why you do or do not blame Linus Ullmark for last night's performance. On the other side, some Sens Prospects performances, and the Belleville Sens are looking to keep going forward. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. All right, Pilsy. So next up for the Ottawa Senators is a date with the Calgary Flames tomorrow. Then it will be in Montreal on Saturday night before a deep breath. They don't play from Saturday until the following Thursday in Boston, another divisional game against the Bruins. Pilsy, Sens Prospects, starting in the Belleville system. It's all about the 2 guys that going into the year we're most excited about, and most notably is Stephen Halliday, shootout winner the other day. He gets his first goal of the season after just dishing him out for the first number of games. He's having a tremendous start to the year. I got to think that, one, he's getting faster as he matures and he's working hard in the gym. But the second one, I truly believe him staying up in Ottawa for all of camp and getting to go to the golf tournament, like all the things the Sens have done to kind of let Steven know that he's a big part of the future and that he will be a Senator one day. You got to think that carrot that's just dangling there has to be enticing for him to go out every night and play good 2-way hockey and get on the score sheet, because he's doing just that so far this season, man. You're looking at 8 points in 7 games for the Disher.
Yeah, I'm down with that, Ross. I agree. My guy, Xavier Bourgault, right behind him with 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points in 7 games. So that's what you like to see. And then the third member of that line, Arthur Kaliev, right behind him with 1 goal and 4 assists, 5 points. That top line for Belleville is a lot of fun.
And Kaliev's only played 5 games, so he's a point per game player, and he's even got 1 assist in 2 games in Ottawa. So I don't think it'll be long before we see him back for another opportunity, especially, I mean, Lixell, you're not blaming last night's loss on a 4th liner, but that line was in the negatives pretty deep last night. So
McDermott would have got the team the win, though, Ross.
Oh, I actually have a final thought on today's show, and it's about the lineup from last night's game. So don't let me finish the show without that. But Senators Prospects will be in action tonight as well. They take on the Rochester Americans. They're a good AHL team. Buffalo's drafting hasn't made them a good NHL team, but there are some players down in Rochester that are very good. And they always feel like they have some vets down there too. I feel like it's one of those organizations that puts some money into what they do. So it's going to be a tough test, but hey, the Marlies put money into them as well, and Belleville just swept them over the weekend. Yeah, so it's a nice little streak. Like, I was we love David Bell, but I was like, man, like they got to figure out some wins, or there's going to be some conversations, I'm sure, internally. Bellsy's got those boys rolling right now, so we love to see it.
Yeah, and just before we move on from Belleville, we got to talk about the blue chip prospect there, Carter
Tyler Boucher.
Hey,
tied in points, those two.
Yes, and Tyler Boucher, a +3. So he's found his all-round game has certainly improved this year. Let's just hope he stays healthy. We're rooting for Tyler Boucher on this show. Always have, always will be. But Carter Yakimchuk, 7 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, -6. Young defenseman learning how to play a pro game. And I think a lot of those, the struggles came early in the first couple games where no one on Belleville was really having any success.
Yeah. He's even in his last 3 games. So, well, 1 +2, 1 -2, and 1 even. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but that kind of is a bit of Carter Yakimchuk's game where there's nights where he wows you, and maybe tonight will be another one of those. The Senators' other farm team, the Wisconsin Sens, are 4-0-2 this season. Pilsy, they're 14th in the nation in the most recent NCAA ice hockey polls. They were starting the year around 20, so it's been a good start for them. And Logan Hensler, the Sens' first-round pick this past draft, he's got his first goal under his belt, and it was a nice shot.
Yeah, it was. So Logan Hensler with a goal and an assist. However, our other sons, Ross, are starting a little slow here. Blake Montgomery only 1 goal in 6 games, and that came in Wisconsin's last game. And then my guy, Bruno, also just 1 point and assist. Now, he did get a sick shootout winner That doesn't show up on the stat sheet there, but yeah, they're starting a little slow here. Our Wisconsin Sens players.
They got some time to figure it out. And like you said, Blake got its first goal in the last game. So I'm excited to see what they've got in store coming up. And if they can all combine on one goal, that's going to be so fun. Where it's like, Montgomery from Ejan and Hensler. Just give me that. And Tyson Dick's there too. Don't forget.
He's only
about
played
Tyson
2 games though.
Yeah, I know. Their next game is coming up tomorrow night against the University of Minnesota. That also has an Ottawa Senators prospect in Javon Moore, and he scored his first goal in NCAA action. He's sitting at a goal and an assist in 8 games. So 5 Sens prospects will be in action tomorrow night head-to-head in that game between Minnesota and Wisconsin. Got to feel like that's a rivalry too, right? Like, that's pretty close to each other. Couple Big Ten teams.
Yeah, definitely. Sticking in college, your guy, Ross, Kevin Riedler, goalie for Penn State, has already matched his record from an entire season of playing last year with University of Nebraska Omaha. He's got a 4-1 record. Now the numbers not great, 319 and 908, but 4-1 record. That's what you like to see, and he's getting games, he's getting ice time. That's what we wanted for our guy, Kevin.
Couldn't agree more. You know who else is getting ice time is Luka Beckman on
man,
maybe the worst team in the QMJHL.
It's got to be the worst team in the Canadian Hockey League, no?
2 wins in 12 games for Beckman, and he has a .916 save percentage. How's that possible?
Yeah, you know what, Ross? I'm going to spin zone this as a good thing. If I got a goalie prospect, I would rather have him. Like, let's compare Riedler and Beckman. Riedler on a wagon of a team in Penn State with McKenna, not great numbers, but getting wins. Beckman, this guy is seeing shots. He can't rely on his defense to bail him out, and he's still putting up a .916 save percentage while only getting 2 wins so far. Like, that's what you want as a young goalie. See shots, learn how to fend for yourself, and I think it's great.
I think it's going to be a long season for Luka Beckman.
Good for development, though.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to a winning team at the deadline. So, you go through the trials and tribulations, get planted over on a good team, and then go on a run. That would be, to me, perfect Luka Beckman season.
Yeah, because you want to see him playing in meaningful games and playoff moments, and how can he handle pressure and stuff. So, yeah, I'm down. And I would be shocked if a team doesn't scoop him up come trade deadline.
And the mythical creature, Dmitry Isayev, out in Russia, has played his first, second, and third KHL games this season. He's +1 there, no points, but he's doing great in his own age category. And the MHL, the Russian Junior League, he's got 9 points in 6 games. So I know nothing about him other than he's 5'7" and 148 pounds, and that he's trained or been coached by Pavel Datsyuk. So I'm so intrigued by this mighty ant.
The mighty ant. I would like to officially say Dmitry Isayev is the wildest Ottawa Senators draft pick in franchise history. Like, no one could have predicted that he would be drafted by the Sens. Let's stick out in Russia with the goalies, Ross.
Heck yeah.
Andrei Trofimov, 7th round pick, 213th overall. He's having a nice time so far in 8 games in the MHL with Magnitogorsk. 221 goals against, 907 save percentage, 1 shutout, and a 5-1 record. So you like to see that.
Damn, he must have had a bad last game. What was his last game? You're on his elite prospects? Because
very bad last game.
Yeah, because his season stats in the Sens communications every week, they put out a prospect update. It's a great resource. He was 5-1 with a 925 save percentage.
So 4 goals on 12 shots last game.
Yeah, not great. But hey, bounce back, just like the Sens. Bounce back. My final thoughts on today's show, Pilsy.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I know it's like beating a dead horse. How is Jordan Spence not in the lineup? No. And here's the reasoning for it today. And we don't have to go long about it. It's a final thought, but it was one I was thinking about the whole first period as the Senators were just getting demolished. If you keep talking about how hard it is to play second half back-to-back with travel, and you acknowledge that by taking your goalie out, you have extra players on the roster. Why are they not playing 1-1 and stay fresher? It just, take away the fact of the player or the situation. If you have players on your press box roster, if you want to call it that, watching, put them in for one of the two. Why not?
I agree with you 1000%, Ross. I have that same mindset, and it's funny because Travis Green did that on the fourth line, switching out McDermott and Lixell. Now, obviously, different situations, but I would have liked to see Jordan Spence in that game as well, especially up against the Chicago Blackhawks team that's going 11-7, and they've got a young team with speed and legs that were not coming off of back-to-back or traveling. I agree with you.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on today's show? Now I'm leaving the show mad.
Hey, keep that energy, Ross, because you cannot overlook the Calgary Flames tomorrow.
I said yesterday on the postcast that I'm going to be very cranky if it's a bad performance tomorrow night.
Okay. Unfortunately, some people are hoping you're cranky.
No.
Yeah. Some people are wanting it, Ross. Some of the comments before we started the postcast yesterday was, can't wait to see Ross vent. They didn't get their wish. Some people are wishing that upon you.
Don't do that.
I just want to see you happy.
Yeah, we don't need a Vancouver repeat from last November.
We're going to have to call Kyle again to be our therapist.
Yeah, we will. Definitely. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Thank you for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. Please subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.